This is DAHBOO77. This is a very important video. Please share it with as many people as you can. This pertains to our current situation here in America and what I believe they were about to do to bring this country down. This end game is rigged. This country was designed to crumble in the end. Once you do as much research and studying as I've done, it's only obvious that this is all planned out, and this is exactly how they plan to crumble not only this country and its constitution, but the people. Now, there's many trigger events that everyone's always predicted about the end. You know, a nuke attack on a football stadium, a disease outbreak, pandemic, natural disasters, compound events, cyber attacks on the banks, on the grid, any of these equaling up to this grand setup. But when you want to get a result and you want to figure out what your enemy's thinking, you need to think like that enemy. You know, put yourself in their shoes to get that result. And when I do that, I'm looking for the best way to achieve this goal without destroying the whole entire landscape and to protect my soldiers and my workers. Then I need a good enough reason for martial law, and that reason has to stretch from coast to coast, every state. Okay? Now, you could rule out an earthquake in one region, for instance, because it's not going to affect physically the whole country. They're not going to send troops into every city because an earthquake hit Houston. Okay? They need to encompass the whole country. And they also need the people to be divided. They have failed miserably on their attempts with their psyops, like the Trayvon Martin case, where they have failed to turn the people against each other. Now I'm looking at future events like Gridix 2, and that drill taking place coincidentally in November, mid-November, only weeks after all of this hell could potentially begin to break loose. Okay? Now, after looking at all this, I sat back and I realized something, that the elite, the easiest way for them to turn people on each other is obviously, after looking at all these recent events with the EBT, the easiest way to turn these people on each other is over food. It's quite simple. So, when realizing this whole thing was a test run, I realized, okay, now it all makes sense. You know, it's all designed to collapse in the end, leaving as many people as they can possible vulnerable. Okay? Their only way to defeat the free people. Now pay attention. They go in, they put in a central bank into this country. They print the money freely. They give out extensive government aid to as many people as possible. Get as many people as possible to depend on the government for housing. Millions depending on the government for food. Millions depending on the government for benefits. And then one day, you take it all away. You see, 9/11 affected the whole world. But it didn't affect anyone if you wasn't in New York City and see it and feel it physically like that. But it did affect the whole world afterwards because of the policies. They're looking to do the opposite, to reach out and touch every person in the United States physically, to make it be felt in your home. And I believe that the best way to do this and to cause the chaos that they need to send in their troops and to round up people, because people have turned on each other, is to do exactly what they just did a test run on, and is to pull the plug on their food. And if that wasn't enough, they pulled this test run, and you see what happened. And we have the proof that shows that they had planned this. All right? They had planned this. They knew that this event was going to go down 100% weeks in advance. It was part of their programming. They knew it. Right? They weren't left in the dark like the rest of us, like, oh, they might work out an agreement before October 1st and the government would be fine. They knew this. They prepared for it. They have all the documents. in a PDF right here. I'll leave a link for so you could see it yourself. I showed you how in the last video that a simple power outage cannot simply make the cards read no limit. They have to be programmed to do so. It's just like the power going out at a bank or an ATM and it's spitting out money. It's not going to happen. It's against the safety features, period. Okay? It was rigged, and it was a test run to see how people would react. Now, this was a very closely observed dress rehearsal for what's coming down the pike. You see, all benefits at this point are being suspended as of November 1st, and millions could go without funds. That is a huge blow that will spark chaos. And then the second unfolding at the exact same time. November 1st is HUD in Section 8 running out of money for their housing, which could potentially see millions displaced. The only benefit on the timing there is that we're coming up on winter, and if that did happen, the courts are not going to rule to where they're going to have to evict these people. They could potentially all still stay housed till the spring. And once that's not guaranteeing electric or sanitation or any other service, trash, anything. That's just guaranteeing that they're not going to be put in the street. But it could still be a house with no electric, no sanitation, no other services. And at this point, with all these people being put out of their houses and food taken away, it's going to be pure chaos. Can you see the situation right here? And you didn't have to drop a nuclear bomb. You didn't have to put out a pandemic. That's two huge blows that could potentially unfold within weeks at the exact same time, and potentially cause the chaos that they want to install martial law. And once that's put in place, this country will never be the same again. It is destruction by design. Okay? And for the effects on this puppet show charade of politics called the economy, it comes down to one thing that I want to touch on, and this is the swinger. This is what changes everything. It comes down to the downgrade. In 2011, the S&P downgraded the United States down to AA+. Now, if the Moody's or the other ones downgrade us, and two out of the three major rating agencies no longer hold us as AAA, it will, without a doubt, spark a sell-off of the treasuries in ways you can never imagine. Probably the biggest sell-off in the history of the United States. This is going to cause an avalanche, and then all the cards will begin to fall. This has not happened, okay? And if this does happen, this downgrade feature, they will no longer be able, the U.S. treasuries, it will become illegal for them to hold some forms of this as collateral. And for banks, in some forms of the allocation risk of being capital, it will be illegal for them to do so. This is huge. So you want to keep an eye out for this downgrade if they don't work out a deal, because it's looking like they're not. Obviously, they're going to need more days, and we're going to default. And once we default, this is what you're looking for, the downgrade. If that downgrade sparks, then that's what could set trip the economy right there. The sell-off of the treasuries right there. That's what it's about. Don't forget it. That downgrade, if it happens. I'll leave links as always, guys, but I don't know what better way to put it to you in the simplest, easiest terms for them to get what they want. It's done shown you through the EBT fraud, the 2-hour thing they did, how it was all set up, and they had to have done it purposely, how they've planned this whole thing out. Here's the PDF proof for you, and how at the exact same time they're looking to potentially put millions on the street. What better way for them to do this? And in the midst of all this, have a big drill going down for the grid going down, turn out the lights. With everybody in place. You've got everyone fighting each other. All hell is broke loose. It's pure chaos. Fighting for their lives, stealing everything you've seen in the movies. All the stores ransacked. People getting shot and killed everywhere. Pure chaos. And they're going to send in these soldiers, UN soldiers at that, all over the place. From different nations. Here to round people up. That's it. And guess what? It doesn't have to be an EMP attack that takes place this week, a nuclear bomb on a football stadium, or a pandemic. It doesn't take none of it. All it takes is for the government to sit where they're at in the beginning of November to roll around, and there be no money for housing and for food for the millions of these people in the United States that this government purposely propped up and supported all this time, and now they're about to let them fall flat on their face. And in the meantime, all the rest of the hardworking people in this country that didn't depend on the government and has been working and got their cash, the economy's going to fall, your money's going to be worth nothing, you're going to suffer because of all the rest of this. And you're going to have to deal with the chaos because it's the same grocery stores you go to are going to be looted. It's these same people running the streets that are going to be shooting and killing people. So you have to pay attention here. This is a chaos they have prepared for. Billions, beyond billions, in rounds of ammunition. Go back and watch the video I put out. On the eve of the shutdown, what did DHS spend billions on? Weapons. Weapons. They didn't save it to feed the government workers, or for the parks, or for the people, or for any of this, for your EBT, for food in your belly. No. They spent $5 billion on weapons on the eve of the shutdown. People better wake up quick. I'll leave links. We are in the midst of potentially 2 swift blows that could unravel and send this country into a free fall. It's that simple. It's that simple. All they have to do is cut the money and the money not be there in the next few weeks and no deal on the table, and all hell will start to break loose. And even if they do, this is something you want to watch out for down the road, because this is inevitable to happen. It's the easiest way for them to pull it off. I've just showed you, without the risk of nuclear, pandemic, or any of this other stuff. The easiest way to turn the people on each other, go in, round up what's left, and implement everything that you want to implement from there on out. This country will never be the same. Wake up quick, folks, while you've got the chance, while you've got the internet, while you've got the chance to communicate and think freely. Share this information. At least think on it. Think about it. Think of the potential threat that looms right here in front of us. And remember, we're in this together. This has been DAHBOO77. Eyes open.